China says it will, quote, not renounce the use of force against Taiwan to achieve reunification. The warning comes in a white paper on Taiwan that China issued on Wednesday. It rounds off a week of the largest ever Chinese military exercises around Taiwan. They came in response to US House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's visit to the island last week. Taiwan responded to the Chinese drills with exercises of its own and a warning from the island's foreign minister that China wanted to control large swathes of the Western Pacific. So where does that leave relations between China and Taiwan? To help us answer that, I'm joined in the studio by Taiwan's representative to Germany, Xie Jiwei. Mr. Xie, welcome. A week of tit-for-tat military exercises later, where are we with ties between China and Taiwan?
The ties lies here on my neck. They tried to strangle us, and we didn't give up our freedom. And I think after the tension of launching the rockets into the oceans around Taiwan, and the World of Freedom has also given China a rocket, and I think we can start it again.
Yeah, but then it doesn't matter how many rockets you fire, China will always outfire Taiwan. Do you think the level of tension between China and Taiwan has increased now?
Sure, it is. But we are not standing alone there. We are one of the allies, the so-called Indo-Pacific Strategic Alliance. We need US, we need Japan, we need UK, France, and Germany. But also we are needed by all these countries because we are holding a very key role, playing a key role in the Indo-Pacific Strategic Alliance. We have a very good microchip industry. We have democracy. So we need them and they need us so they cannot erode that Taiwan become under the control of China.
All right. Now, the Chinese military has also warned, quote, that it will continue to carry out military training and prepare for war. What happens if China tomorrow decides to blockade Taiwan? Then all the semiconductor industry that you're talking about gets blockaded. What happens then?
Yes, that means Taiwan, we're not the only one country who suffered under this blockade. German, USA, all the world who needs Microsoft, that chip, they would suffer under that, so they wouldn't let that happen.
Are you certain that the world will come to Taiwan's aid if Taiwan is actually threatened by China for an actual invasion?
I have been asked very often these kind of questions, like would the Americans will come over to help us? My answer is always no, they won't come because they are already there. If you take a look, a close glance at that, what happens in the last 2 years, the US Navy, the Japanese, Australia, they are already there. So we are not alone. Of course, we have to get prepared for anything like what happened in the last 2 weeks.
I do want to talk to you about that, but let's talk about the preparations first. Where is Taiwan now? Is Taiwan in a place in which it needs to prepare economically and militarily and faster for a potential Chinese invasion?
I think yes, like an old Roman proverb said, "Si vis pacem para bellum." If you want to have your freedom, you have to be prepared to fight for your peace and freedom, and that's what we've been doing in the last years. Maybe in the last decades.
You have been doing that, but do you not think that the intensity of that has to increase and the frequency with which you do that has to increase? So there is more of a pressure on Taiwan, is there not, after these recent tensions?
It is. I have to admit it is. But we won't. That's another reason why we give up our freedom, democracy. There's always, of course, there's always a risk. We know, but we are sitting in a same boat together with the Americans, with all the friends around the world. Right. We are sitting in a boat and nobody rocks the boat.
Right, okay. Yeah. We'll talk about that, but I would like to talk about the people of Taiwan because everything that you're saying increases the risk for the people of Taiwan as to what might befall them in the event of an invasion. And as we saw, and I'd like to show to our viewers a report that a colleague of ours, Zachary Lee, filed from Taiwan as to how the current round of military exercises impacted the people of Taiwan.
These bomb shelters in Lin Suyan's house had been a storeroom for years, but now she is preparing to use it again. The Chinese military drills near Taiwan have made war seem like a real possibility to her.
We need to clean it up first so we can have a place to hide if a war breaks out. It's safer to stay in here. You can see it is a solidly built shelter.
Lin's small bomb shelter was built nearly 100 years ago during the Second World War. She never expected to need it one day. She is not alone. The increased military activity has raised concerns here in southern Taiwan. Residents living near the airbase are very used to the sounds of fighter aircraft. But in the past few days, they say dozens more fighter jets are taking off and landing even at midnight. And this has raised worries here. Xie Renxiong is one of them. Following the news about the Chinese drills has become a part of his daily routine. He has even asked his local administrator where the air raid shelters are.
We are used to Chinese intimidation. It's been going on for decades. But this time the drills are much closer to us. This, of course, has us worried.
In Taiwan, concerns about the military crisis are slowly rising. A local survey found that a third of the Taiwanese are worried about a possible conflict with China. Some are even seeking medical help to deal with their anxiety. Psychiatrist Yang Chongcai says his patients have increased by nearly 30%.
One of my patients has experienced war, and he feels stressed when he sees reports about the drills or the war in Ukraine. He has nightmares and can't eat properly.
Others across the island, however, have taken the tensions in their stride. Yang finds that many here are numbed to Chinese threats. But a further escalation, he says, could quickly upset that balance.
Mr. Xie is still with us, the Taiwanese representative to Germany. You saw that report by my colleague Zachary Lee there. Mr. Xie, all this began after Nancy Pelosi's visit to Taiwan. Did that visit make Taiwan safer?
That recalls me a new friend I met the other days on the street. He introduced himself to me by saying, "Hello, I'm afraid of Germany." And I say, "I'm afraid of China." Yes, the threatening attacks of China is threatening some of us, but it's worthy that Pelosi make this visit, and we welcome him from the bottom of our heart, because it was a sign of symbol, the sign of solidarity.
But you've had those similar signs before. I mean, my question to you is, what does Taiwan know now, after Nancy Pelosi's visit, about U.S. commitment to Taiwan that it didn't know earlier?
The aggression of China had already been there before the visit of the Pelosi. Maybe people here didn't know that much, but we experienced that. That's the reason why Pelosi said, "I came here, I made this visit because I want to support our friends in a democracy who are under the threat of China." So it's not, the question is not so correctly, I would say, yes, we have known the aggression of China, and China has showed their real face.
But you just admitted earlier that the intensity of Chinese military drills and the intensity of Chinese belligerence has increased after this visit. I'm just trying to understand how that helps Taiwan.
That makes us, that keeps us, bring us into the awareness of the real face of China. And I think it's good that we know that they tell us they are going to attack us. I have known that, most of people, the Taiwanese have known that since the Tiananmen massacre in 1989 on the 1st of July, June. Right. We know they will kill. There are people that will attack Taiwan if they think it's necessary, because they are threatening with us with military, and we are threatening with our democracy. So
just to be clear, you think that Chinese invasion of Taiwan, it is not a question of if, but when?
When, yeah. Clearly, in the last 10 years, the Chinese government has shown their real face, not only toward Taiwan, but also toward Japan, and also especially in the South China Sea. That's the reason why there is this concept, Indo-Pacific Strategic Alliance, no more Asia-Pacific.
Right. So a Chinese attempt to invade Taiwan, to reunify with the mainland, will succeed or will it not succeed?
No. No.
And this will not succeed because you have the Indo-Pacific around you.
We have our own military. We are working very closely with the with neighboring countries.
Sorry to cut you short, sir, but the US hasn't committed that it will commit US troops to fight on the side of Taiwan.
They don't have to. That's the policy of ambiguity, and what they have done.
What if they don't come through and if Taiwan is left alone to face China?
We have to face that.
Will you win?
Rather, I will. If
How will you win? China outguns you, outmans you.
They are going to pay a big price, so big that they will think it again. It is worth it to attack Taiwan.
And
in case they want to unify us or reunify us, whatever you say, they should try to attract us, not attack us.
But then China is not listening to these demands, is it?
You're right, but let's see. I think it's a chicken games. We want anyway because we have met the development from the dictatorship to a democracy. So the freedom we have, the freedom of speech, freedom of religion, and so on, democracy, we won't keep it up.
Let me just ask you a direct question, if you could answer that briefly. If the US does not deploy US troops in assistance for Taiwan in the event of a Chinese attack, can Taiwan hope to beat China back?
Well, in this case, I'm not sure. And to be realistic, to be honest, we have to see. But anyway, we won't give it up. We won't give it up. Just like Pelosi, she was threatened. She was threatened so badly, and she didn't get up. And what happened? She visited and she left Taiwan in safety. And China launched the rockets, and they come back to the normal life. And I think we did a good decision.
We'll leave it there. Thank you so much for coming in, Mr. Shi Jiwei, Taiwan representative to Germany. And that's all we have time for.